Okay, thank you. Then I think we can start. Thank you very much, dear colleagues, for joining us in this end of the year shippers meeting. So I think some other participants will also join in the meantime, and we will be starting. Also, Mr. Makagon will join a little bit later to have a couple of words, and I think we will still start. This year was quite a tough one for the gas industry and for us as a TSO of Ukraine. We were experiencing quite an interesting year. Let's agree on all the technical details. During the call, you can use the chat and write the questions there. Also, we will be having the separate Q&A session after we have all the slides done. And also, please disregard this NOx while some participants are connecting. This is the peculiarities of the IT tool that we are having. We will start from the very brief overview of the market and of our cooperation with the clients. So this year we finally reached the 100 number of foreign customers. And they represent different countries from the whole world, not only the EU, the US, Switzerland, of course, but also some countries from Asia and etc. This was very. This year we also had further progress in the EFET gas hub study. We reached already 11 points there. Of course, this study shows a very important point that the Ukrainian market has to continue its development with regards to title transfer and all the things connected with the gas exchange. The situation is that we are continuing our work in these four main streams. First is the development of the market and the hub. Here we are planning during this year, following the changes of the legislation that we were awaiting for a long period of time, switching to the energy units. We also want to continue incentivizing the exchange trading and working on the further market transparency and liquidity. Also, we continue working together with the NRA on the neutrality charge mechanism to be not simply implemented inside Ukraine. It's quite easy to implement it, but not so this mechanism would not be deteriorating the market. We are working as regards to development of new routes of natural gas supply, very actively communicating with the TSOs of Poland and Hungary. On establishment of the firm capacity in order to get the access to the LNG, further developing the cooperation with the Romanian TSO on ensuring the possibility to transport the gas through the Trans-Balkan pipeline. And working together with Ustream on additional firm capacities from Slovakia to Ukraine. Also, our company is continuing its operation with regards to modernization of our gas transmission system and its optimization, right sizing, and digitalization, because the capacities of the system are much higher than the current rate of utilization. And another point which we will cover in our presentation is the repurposing of the gas transmission system for transportation of renewables and development of the hydrogen technologies. The gas market overview. We are now almost at the end of 2021, and we quite safely can assume that as of the end of the year, we will see very stable trend on the gas consumption. And the gas production as well. The thing that we see is, and I see that Mr. Makagon joined. Let me give him the Sergey, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes, I already started like very brief introduction. So if you can now give your word of the CEO, it would be very great.
Yes. Hello, everybody. It's great pleasure to see you again. Unfortunately, online. But anyway, we are very interested to hear from you your ideas, and also to share with you our results and our plans for the nearest future. This year it's quite challenging for the entire Europe and for Ukraine as well. We see a lot of developments, a lot of problems caused by this unexpected energy crisis, and we as a TSO doing what is possible in order to facilitate these gas flows between the markets, in order to stabilize the situation in the nearest markets. You know that we are also very active in opposing Nord Stream 2. We believe this project brings a lot of risks and uncertainty to the European gas market, and also create the significant energy security threats for not just for Ukraine but for Europe as well. Our company joined the certification process of Bonanza, the German regulator, regarding certification of Nord Stream 2. There are 4 companies already involved. It's PGNiG, it's a German daughter company, trading daughter company, Naftogaz, and our company. We believe that there are a lot of available capacities right now at the market. The problem is not that there is a lack of capacities, but the problem is that Gazprom just not shipping additional volumes of gas to Europe. And currently, Ukraine possesses about 100 billion cubic meters of idle capacities, which we constantly offering to Gazprom, to European traders, and we can start additional deliveries as soon as we have the nominations from Gazprom. Regarding the situation at the Ukrainian gas market, so we see that the import is very low, but we expect that the import should raise in January, February, in March, in order to balance the gas demand at the Ukrainian gas market. About the developments of the market, so we see that there are a lot of new regulations, especially from the state, which are aimed to support the, let's call them, vulnerable consumers and state-owned enterprises, budget organizations. We know that the Naftogaz is proposing the special prices for households, for district heating companies, and budget organizations. Unfortunately, because of this energy crisis, these state organizations and district heating companies, which deliver heat to the population, they cannot afford the market price, the European market price. That's why the government has to intervene in order to not to create the political and social crisis in Ukraine. Yes, also we see that the industry is suffering, so a lot of the companies are stopping their operations because of this high gas prices. For example, the greenhouse companies and fertilizer producing companies, they suffer significantly because part of the gas in their costs are quite significant and they cannot just afford such a huge price. So the situation is very tough, but from the point of view of operator, of gas transmission system operator, we're doing all our best in order to provide the services at the expected level. I think this is it from my side. I wish you a happy New Year, very, very happy Christmas, and ready to respond to your questions later after the presentation. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Makagon. As already mentioned, we see this clear trend that the consumption and the production is on more or less stable level, but as mentioned by Mr. Makagon, the import decreased drastically. So we expect around 2.6, 2.7 billion cubic meters to be imported by the end of this year, which is in comparison with previous year is like almost 6-time decrease. At the same time, in 2020 and 2021, we see the trend of that we didn't have before, the gas export and re-export. So this year we expect the figure of around 2.2, 2.3 billion to be re-exported. Most of this gas was previously imported either as a short-haul product or as a short-haul customs warehouse product. Though we also see that the gas transit decreases. The second year in a row, it decreases for more than 30%. And the gas in storage at the end of injection period, we almost reached the plan of 19 billion cubic meters at the end of injection, and now the level is a little bit more than 15 billion cubic meters. Another important point that currently, in accordance with the data of the storage system operator, Transgas, around 1 BCM of gas is owned by foreign companies, and we also see the certain trend that this gas might be re-exported back to the neighboring countries. What are the trends with the prices and the trades in Ukrainian market? gas prices in 2020, we saw a clear trend that Ukrainian VTP prices were traded with a spread, quite significant spread towards the TTF, which changed at the end of last year. And during 2021, the whole year we were going like hand in hand. Ukrainian VTP a little bit cheaper in some days, a little bit more expensive in some days, in the other days. But at the end of the year, we see that especially during the peaks of the prices, the spread between the TTF and Ukrainian VTP is significant, and TTF is more expensive. As of 11 months of 2021, we had 452 traders active at the VTP, which is like 2.5% less than 11 months of 2020. At the same time, the trading volumes were higher. So the trading volumes in 11 months this year were around 54 billion, and last year it was 51 billion. So the increase is more than 5%. While the gas consumption for 11 months decreased a little bit for 4%, which altogether gave the increase by almost 10% of the churn rate of Ukrainian VTP in 2021 in comparison with the 2020. The interconnectivity situation with the interconnectivity, as already mentioned, we are very actively working on establishment and enhancement of the routes of transportation of natural gas between Ukraine and neighboring countries. As of now, we have the firm capacities from Slovakia in Budince interconnection point in the level of 27 million cubic meters per day. Now we are very actively working with the FGZ to establish firm capacity towards Ukraine in the nearest time, and we hope that our common work will give the result, because we understand that this route is the most interesting one for the traders. In general, the situation in Hungary changed from the 1st of October very significantly. So now if you open the website of the FGZ, you see that that Hungary became the kind of end point of gas transmission. It no longer has its transit role as it used to have from Ukraine to Serbia, and now most of the time it imports the gas, and Ukraine in this regard serves also as one of the main sources of import of the gas from the gas from storages is re-exported to Hungary. And important point to mention, in beginning of November, when there was an accident in Bulgaria, which led to stop of the transit to Hungary through Serbia, the re-export from Ukraine increased significantly, and Ukrainian gas transmission and gas storage system were able to serve as a role of kind of security of supply guarantee for our Hungarian partners. We are also very actively working with the TSO of Slovakia on the issue of increasing the firm capacities. We are discussing the several options how to increase this firm capacity and to which level. And the main point that there should be demand for additional firm capacity in order to do this increase. Together with the gas transmission system operators of Poland and Romania, we are following the incremental capacity process, and we will have several slides on that regard. And we see the long-term demand, as of now non-binding, but we expect that there will be a binding demand as well in the next years. And we are actively working on establishment on a more short-term basis of firm capacity from Poland towards Ukraine. And with the TSO of Romania, we're actively working on the Tekovo Media Shaurit interconnection point. We still have this technical issue of the kind of technical nature on the gas metering station to be solved. And we during the year we had raised the level of discussion of the issue to the level of the Acer and national regulatory authorities, and we believe that now the situation may change, and the understanding the results of the incremental process, we see that there is a demand for this infrastructure. So we hope that our Romanian colleagues will help us to find the solution acceptable for both partners. Regarding the TSO of Moldova, we are continuing our cooperation in regards to the establishment of the backhaul in Moldova and decrease of the tariffs in the Moldovan system. In October, November this year, Moldova also faced quite a significant gas crisis with the supply of gas from Russia to Moldova. During this crisis, we were able to assist using the OBA, like borrowing the gas for some time for the Moldovan needs, and we see that there is a lot of good intentions from the side of Moldovan government and Moldovan parliament to do and finally do the necessary changes to the legislation of Moldova, and finally do the final changes to the customs legislation, and introduce the tariffs in accordance with the entry-exit methodology. And we were also discussing with Moldovan colleagues that they should think of introducing some similar to short-haul service for the Trans-Balkan route to make it more commercially viable. Now I will give the floor to Anton Lazarevich, and he will continue with our plans on the new products and the secondary market.
Good morning, dear colleagues. What I would like to start is from our kind of project in the secondary market area and development of the secondary market. From the last shippers meeting, we received from the market the request for development of secondary market. As you can see on this slide, this is current state of secondary market, how it works right now, and how it is prescribed in our network code. So you can see this this procedure is not very convenient, and it takes about 7 working days. And you can sell the lesser product, I mean, of the time product that you can sell is only the months. Could you please turn next slide? Thank you. So this is actually the state that we are planning to develop our secondary market. First of all, we would like to propose to make all these procedures on auction platform, and it will be a coordination actually between the auction platform and the GTSO information platform. So, and the whole process will takes about 2 hours of selling the capacity on the secondary market between shippers, and also the lesser product of the time product that you can sell, it will be a daily product. Next slide, please. So this is general information of what we are currently developing. So as you probably know, there's a different options of providing the services, for example, of transfer of rights. So you can do the assignment, the user right. and procedures of providing the capacity, of course, IT tools for the secondary trading, and the capacity products to be traded. So currently we are analyzing which system will be more efficient and productive for our customers. And currently we are holding the negotiations and negotiations with the market participants to understand which combination of these components would be mostly useful for them. And we currently in the state of consulting with the market participant to provide this service for them. And for our perspective, we planning to develop such service and provide it in this year. And we are planning about on the summer 2022. So next slide, please. And also as a reliable and prudent TSO, we are analyzing the practice of our European colleagues. And we believe that we should provide a variety of the services for our market participants and shippers. And currently we're in a state that we are collecting the potential services portfolio, potential services that we can provide to our shippers. For example, from our observations, we indicate that potentially for the market will be useful the products such as surrender of capacity and shift of capacity. This is actually kind of quite known projects, quite known services in European TSOs. So I will not kind of take a lot of time of explaining. So generally, surrender of capacity is the service that allows network users to return their capacity to the TSO. And yeah, it's one of the products that we are currently analyzing to provide it for the market in a recent time. And could you please next slide? Yeah, and the second one is the shift of capacity. Generally, it's also this product is well known in usage for the shippers on the European market. And generally, it gives the right to transfer exit capacity from entry point to another interconnection point with the same adjacent country for a certain period. In our case, we believe that it will be usable to shippers, I mean, in conditions where there's some technical restrictions on some interconnection points, and to not lose the booked capacity, the shipper could transfer it to another interconnection point with any losses. But overall, what we would like to mention that all these projects that we are mentioned, it's kind of the main point is that we are this is our potential services, and our next steps of their development will be, of course, the consultation with the market participants to understand in which way and how it provided mostly beneficial and, as it possible to say, kind of user-friendly for the clients. So now we're kind of on the stage of development and the consultation with the market for the such project development and implementation. Thank you. From my side, that's all.
Yeah, now we give the floor to Mr. Alexey Surzhyk to continue on the short update with regulatory changes. Alexey, unmute yourself.
Do you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
My name is Alexey Surzhyk. I'm from Regulatory Division, and I would like to make a couple of comments concerning changes in regulatory framework this year and that concerns upcoming year. So first of all, I would like to start with our facilitation at exchange platform in terms of short-term standardized products trading. We as a TSO, starting from 25th of June, we are participating at the auctions and provide some liquidity to it. So concerning switching to energy units, it will be the next two slides, and I'll mention the provisions of the law, key provisions of law. Couple words on neutrality. If, as you know, the neutrality balancing charge was postponed to the second gas year, 2022-2023. Our NRA, NERC, by its resolution on 17 November, postponed this introduction. So also I would like to mention concerning switching the TSO to electronic document exchange. We believe that it will facilitate our paper flow and eliminate all this routine. And there is will be usage of electronic digital keys. So the next one is switching to public contract for natural gas services. So this will be like a typical public contract, joining to which will be made by means of submission by a network user to the TSO an application for accession. The TSO within 10 days, calendar days, will process this application and will provide the respective response to a network user by means of sending notification on conclusion of public contract. And the last point is concerns shift of capacity. It means that we at the stage of concept of such package of services such as shift of capacity, secondary market, proper tools, and bundled products with SSO. Please, next slide. Yes, concerning the provisions of law by which Ukraine switching to energy units. The law contains the following provisions. I divided at the presentation the 5 groups or types, categories of operation concerning which the settlements on natural gas market should be carried out in energy units, kilowatt hours. So the first group is acceptance and transfer to from gas distribution system or gas transmission system, the first one. The second one, purchase and sale. The third one is so-called infrastructure services such as transmission, distribution, storage, and services of LNG installation, which are not unfortunately available in Ukraine. And also the two last one category are consumption natural gas and supply. Next slide, please. Yeah, also provisions of law determine prescribe how the determination of volume of natural gas in energy units should be carried out, and prescribed the two following way with such a priority. The first law says us that measurement should be done in energy units if market entity does not have such opportunity to make such a measurements, and the entity makes measurements in volumic units, in other words, cubic meters. It should be converted from volumic unit into energy units, kilowatts. Also, the law prescribes which GCV should be applied in this case. For instance, in case of transmission services, the GCV level of 10.64 kilowatt hour per cubic meter. starting from 1st of May 2022, where the TSO will allocate the capacity in energy units, and the capacity which was allocated until this date will be converted into energy units with usage of such GCV value, 10.64 kilowatt-hour per cubic meter. Also, we should say about tariffs, which was set by our regulator. Now it's $1 per cubic meter, and this will convert it into energy units as well until 1st of May 2022. So there is an idea is how it should look, kilowatt hours or megawatt hours, but we will look at closer to this date. And the last one, the recalculation of this capacity should be carried out only once on 1st of May 2022. So from my perspective, that's it. Thanks a lot. If you have questions, please ask us in Q&A section. Andrei.
Yes, thank you. So the next part is about the incremental process, please. Andrei? We cannot hear you. Probably you should unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
May I continue? Good afternoon to you all. I am Andrei Ivanov. I am head of the Auction Platform Support Unit. As Mr. Prokofiev mentioned previously, one of the strategic tasks of our company is to ensure security of natural gas supply. We do this by using incremental capacity process. Let me briefly remind you about the process in general and give you some information about what has already been done and our further steps in these activities. At first, I have to mention that the incremental capacity process is a way how to increase technical capacity at existing interconnection points, how to create new interconnection points, or how make physical reverse flows available on interconnection points which are existing. The incremental capacity process we can divide on two phases, non-binding phase and binding phase. The process elements are described in detail in the comment C, but on this slide you can see the phases and their time frames. The process began at the same time as the yearly 2021 capacity allocation auction, and currently we are on a design phase. Please next slide. Andrei, thanks. The next two slides show what has already been done. As you can see, shippers took part in the 2021 capacity incremental capacity procedure from the gas transmission system operator of Ukraine side. We hope that next time more companies will come to us. Anyway, market demand assessment phase started together with yearly capacity allocation auctions, and over next 8 weeks, shippers submitted non-binding demand indicators to our company. From our side, we gave opportunity to shippers to submit non-binding demand indicators for any direction and any interconnection point of Ukraine. As you can see on this slide, There are several points which are highlighted by color, and for these points we received non-binding demand indicators. For 2 points which are marked in blue, an incremental capacity project was initiated with adjacent TSO. Please, next slide. Thanks. Based on the received non-binding demand indicators, gas transmission system operator of Ukraine and adjacent gas operators of Poland and Romania agreed to initiate incremental capacity process. For interconnection point GCP gas system UATCO and for interconnection point TSO Media Shaurit, respectively. As you can see on the slide, currently no physical levers are available on this direction to Ukraine. The market long-term demand on this firm capacity for interconnection point GCP gas system UATCO is between two capacity levels. Minimum capacity level 8.7 million cubic meters per day and maximum capacity level 13.1 million cubic meters per day. For interconnection point IP TSO Media Shaurit, market demand is nearly 6.9 million cubic meters per day. Please, next slide. On the 25th of October 2021, the gas operators published joint market demand assessments on their official websites. Also, we published these market demand assessments on the NSOC website. The reports show aggregated non-binding demand indicators received by both gas transmission system operators, the demand assessment analysis, the decision to initiate incremental capacity procedure, and timelines of our further common activities. Please feel free to use these links to the reports if you need more detailed information. Please, next slide. The design phase started at the same time as the market demand assessment reports were published. In close cooperation with colleagues from gas system and Transgas, we carried out detailed technical studies. These studies will be the basis for the project proposal for the incremental capacity project. The main issues are to agree capacity pressure levels on the UA border and gas metering details. Joint reports have to be published on January 2022. These reports will include information about agreed capacity levels, new infrastructure to be implemented on both sides of the border, expected deadlines of these constructions, cost estimations, and F-factor level of both gas operators. Starting from the 18th of January 2022, there will be a joint public consultation on this draft project proposal. Everything from our side, everything will be done to ensure effectively cross-border coordination, and any feedback will be really very useful for us on this phase. So you're welcome to take part in this public consultation. When non-binding phases are completed and are successful, we will offer incremental capacity at the 2023 yearly capacity allocation auction. It have be a standard bundle product and allocate using ascending clock algorithm. In general, this is all from my side. Please check our official website if you need more detailed information or you need to receive update information regarding the incremental capacity procedure. Thank you for your attention and for listening my part of the presentation.
Thank you, Andrei. Now we will give the floor to, on our last topic, to Mr. Nikolai Kadensky. Nikolai, I will try to unmute you. Yes, Nikolai, we can hear you.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Nikolai Kadensky, Head of Network Development Department. I'm leading processes of management our activities to decarbonization, technologies, and development of TSO in a way of EU. So 2021 decarbonization outcomes, we started membership with the industry associations of EU and cooperate with them, attract knowledge and understanding of way of cooperation with new technologies from our peers from EU. We start building construction power plants for in-house loads, solar. It will be used for self-consumption. We launched science platform on the basis of H2 Council for support our hydrogen activities. We start R&D program for H2 readiness and understanding how our infrastructure will be fitted with H2 injection in a different blend level. We supported removing of barriers to biomethane injection to the national gas grid, and maybe you are aware about this. This is one of the most prospective clean energy carriers for the traders. Ukraine gas TSO joined few hydrogen initiatives, signed MOUs, and created around our company ecosystem of reliable and prospective partnership for future transformation according to EU strategy. Next slide, please. Or I can do it by myself. No. A lot of hype, a lot of noise about hydrogen, so I would like to share with you our three horizon strategy, which is based on, let's say, optimistic scenario. And right now we are situated on 2020-21, the ground level, when we creating, just the fundamentals for future development, roadmaps, plans, ecosystems, terms of reference. And we participate in a creation of development of Ukrainian high-level hydrogen policy, where we provide advocacy for necessity of a pipeline transportation. So, few snapshot. Next stage is R&D for 3-5 years. Assessment, construction of pilot lab cluster, lab testing, operation of testing cluster, and creation of hydrogen investment master plan. So pilot projects before 2030, up to 2030, integration of pilot project to the grid, consolidation of operational experience and scaling approaches, repurposing of existing transition pipelines, some of them which will be not used for natural gas, and scaling after 2030. So when targeted investments in big projects will be multiplied one by one up to the market conditions when this energy carrier, hydrogen, will be more used by consumers, so you can trade it and use our service. Andrei, you please, next slide. About the agenda, what we are doing right now to define our possibility, be market participants or market maker, even for pipeline transportation of hydrogen. We making H2 readiness assessment, work with equipment, provide manufacturers to understand what of them is ready and what will not be ready, to define gaps and understand way how to fill it. We on the way of creation hydrogen technology cluster. It's a pilot project with the consolidation of state-of-the-art technologies which will be used to obtain knowledge, skills, and experience how to deal with hydrogen in the real world. And more soft things on the right side: participation in hydrogen policy making, market environment development, and understanding who gonna consume hydrogen, in what, in which volumes, which quality, to define the structure of the future market and to estimate our possible business role in this case. And integration to EU ecosystem, it is most important for us to be a bridge between producement and consumption, to help traders make and to create each other more closer. Okay, next slide, please, Andrew. We are taking in a focus all the hydrogen initiatives in Ukraine to understand who's going to be the first and where our service will be needed. Here, market on the map, we market 10 of them. One of the, let's say, most reliable partners. Check it, double check it with the ministry. These intentions to build something. So we are in a contact with them and trying to be close as possible to understand where our pipes will be needed and to prepare them in the first stage. Thanks. Next. International integration, one of the projects that was published this year at Central European Hydrogen Corridor. High Central, it's a short name. Initiatives of 4 gas TSO, Ukraine, Ustream Slovakia, Net4Gas Czech Republic, and OG Germany. We created this project to explore the technical feasibility to export from Ukraine hydrogen to Germany via existing gas infrastructure. So we started work in September and created 2 teams, one of them dedicated to technical stuff, another to strategy and commercial. We are working with big producers to attract them, build or construct their capacities closer to the grid, to make things easier to get access for the future possible export to EU. So it's a big strategy project which is on early beginning, and it's aimed to explore from the beginning and then create needed opportunities for a capacity for a pure, or in the beginning blended, but the final goal is to create opportunity for a pure hydrogen transportation using pipelines and our experience, skills, and stuff. Next slide, please. Last but not least, it's a biomethane in Ukraine. Few months ago, Parliament approved draft of the law which created fundamental principles for biomethane market, and this definition of biomethane created. So right now we are in a contact with possible investors and developers of the projects. We performed first meeting with them to explore, to explain what is the rules to get access to the grid, what is the technical requirements, how they will be changed in the future up to the national legislation system under, let's say, harmonization with EU. So we counted not less than 24 of biomethane projects which want to produce this renewable gas right now in amount approximately 0.2 BCM. So and estimated production capacity up to 2031 BCM in a year. And we understand that for shippers, it will be a next big thing in Ukraine. It's a biomethane trading, because you can trade not only the energy carrier as a megawatt hour, but also guarantees of a region with the premium, which is, I think, not less than 25 or 30% of price. Thank you for your attention. I am open for your questions.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Nikolai. Dear participants, we don't have any more slides. So now we can start the Q&A session. We kindly ask you to write the questions in the chat. You also have the option of raising the hand, and then we will give you the opportunity to ask the question orally. So please use whatever option is convenient for you. In the meantime, while you're thinking of the questions, I will give an answer to Georg. The question is there any updates on regulation allowing TSO to offer unused booked capacity on interruptible basis? Yes, thank you very much, Georg, for the question. During the last year, we initiated several times the discussions with our national regulatory authorities on the issue, and resubmitted our proposals that to the network code that need to be changed. These proposals include the amendments to gas transmission network code and respective contract, as well as the gas storage network code, in order to allow us us and the storage system operator to reject the interruptible capacity nominations without in case of the firm capacities were nominated, without the kind of approval of the network user. So we are waiting for the NRA to give the feedback on that. We expect to have it done during the first half of next year. So, dear colleagues, if you have the questions, please either raise the hand. The button is in the right side of this black panel below your screen, in the middle of your screen, in the bottom. Or type the questions in the chat. Well, while you are typing the questions, I will update you that we will provide the presentation that we showed today. It will be published on our website, so you will have access to it. And we are also planning to upload the recording of the meeting and send you the link to the uploaded file. If you want to share it with maybe for some of your colleagues who were not able to participate in the meeting. Also, I would like to ask, following the meeting, we will share this presentation. We will send it to all the registered participants, and we will also share the links to the questionnaires that we were doing during the last months on different topics of cooperation between the network user and the gas transmission system operator. It's very important for us to have the feedback from your side, and we kindly ask you to take some time to fill in the questions, because we received a lot of responses from the local companies, but from the non-residents, it would be very good to have some feedback as well. Yeah, so the question is about the GCV. I see the regulation. Yes, so this is a very good question. You're right. So the GCV, which is stored in gas storage, it doesn't change. It is equal to 10.595. So this GCV applies to the gas that you're storing in the storages, and it will be used for the change. While the other provision of the gas transmission system operator, it specifies that the GCV used will be 10.64. So this will impact the booked capacity of gas transmission. So if you have the long-term booked capacity for the period starting from 1st of May 2022, it will be recalculated with the GCV 10.64. So actually, it's better for you. It will give you more energy in the booked capacity. And this is kind of, if you now have 100 cubic meters of booked capacity, you will, and you multiply it by 10.64, you will receive more energy. So it is not the issue, we believe, and it will also imply the same GCV will be applied to the tariffs from the period of 1st of May. Why there are two different GCVs? Well, it's a good question to our parliament. Unfortunately, we do not know the answer. This was the result of the quite lastly discussion between the market participants and the storage system operator, because in the regard of the gas stored in storages, this question is much more kind of important than with regard to the booked capacities. Most of the capacities in Ukraine are now booked on rather short-term basis. So on the monthly basis, I don't think that we have any quarterly capacity now booked, apart, of course, from the transit capacities. I hope I answered your questions. So the next question, there are also a question from Virginia. Could you examples of how the change of energy units will impact booked capacity? Well, I already answered this. It will, if you had 100 cubic meters, it will be multiplied by the coefficient 10.64. So the questions from Konstantin: at what stage are negotiations with Hungarian TSO on firm capacity now? Share, if possible, your expectations from the future results of the negotiations. Yes, the negotiations are very actively ongoing now, so we are finalizing all the details regarding the remaining issues to be solved. and we hope that we will have the kind of good news very soon. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose now the expectations of when the capacities will be available. But the progress is good, and we hope to have firm capacity for the import from Hungary to Ukraine very soon. As well as the level of capacities, it is still under discussion, but it will be, in any case, the kind of not the minor level. It will be the commercial level, which can be quite a substantial figure. So I don't see any hands raised. The question about neutrality. So what TSO is promoting in terms of neutrality charge introduction. So from our side, we are promoting the kind of most logical mechanism which will not kill the market. So we understand that we cannot redistribute all the debts that we are now facing on the market, because it will simply kill it. Very important point that we also promote the idea that neutrality should not be applied to non-residents who are not working on the market, but who are storing the gas in the customs warehouse and selling the gas on the border. So it should apply only to those companies that have the option of creating the imbalances. And we also hope that we also understand that the neutrality introduction, it is this issue is bound with the issue of the debts and non-payments towards the TSO from the side of the distribution companies. So colleagues, if it is more convenient for you to ask the question orally, you can raise your hand and we will unmute your microphone. So the DSO debts, was this issue now resolved for the TSO? Yeah, there was some update on this, and there were changes made to the Ukrainian network codes with the creation of this balancing group, which allowed to put this technological needs of the gas as part of the balancing group. But we also see that the winter is coming, and we understand that we need to see how the new mechanism will be functioning in the time of high consumption and high demand. And following it, we will be getting back to the issue of neutrality. And we will see whether the situation will not get worse, and whether some other updates to the Ukrainian legislation would not be implemented. Yeah, thank you, Elvira, for active participation and asking the questions. So the question from Maya: how can we shift the capacity between two interconnection points without additional fees? So currently we don't have this option, and this is one of the kind of new products that we are thinking of and analyzing. we had the idea that this can be applied to the interconnection points with the same country, and because we have a lot of interconnection points, for example, with Moldova, we have several interconnection points with Slovakia, we have 2 interconnection points with Russia. So this can be, and we are thinking of launching the service on kind of these points. If there is some technical problem on one of the points, we will be allowing you to shift the capacities from this point to the other with the same adjacent countries, the same adjacent balancing zone, and for the case of Slovakia, there are the option of the tariffs of 2 points are the same, of Budince and Velika Kapushane, and in case of Moldova we have different tariffs for different points, and in this case we are thinking of introducing the option of like reimbursing this difference of the tariff if you will be shifting it to the point with the higher tariff. Create VAP will be a solution. Yes, it will be a solution. We want to create the VAP with the Slovak TSO, but our intention is not the only prerequisite for it. We need the agreement from the side of Ustream, which we don't see now, and we continue working in this direction, and this would be a very perfect solution which would help us to save as a TSO to save the fuel gas, and for you it will make also more convenient operation, not having to think of what interconnection point you need to book. Yeah, we fully support it. We developed all necessary documents for this and provided to Ustream. Had a lot of discussions involving the regulatory authorities, and there were also, if you remember, during 2021 the poll made by the Acer and energy community on the applicability of European network codes on the borders between the EU member states and energy community contracting parties. This was also initiated by us as one of the kind of intentions, was as an intention to solve the issue of virtual interconnection point with Slovakia. But the question is that the Slovak National Regulatory Authority does not approve the creation of the virtual interconnection point because of some. Yes, thank you very much that you took part into it. The question is that the National Regulatory Authority does not allow creation of virtual interconnection point because of some commercial risks towards Ustream. We do not understand what are these commercial risks, but kind of this is what we have. And I guess that the next step may be also some feedback and letters from the network users to the Slovak National Regulatory Authority that this could be a good solution, which would be very good for the market participants. And if you're interested in that, this would be very good approach. Yeah, we hope to. How do you assess Konstantin asking tough questions today. How do you assess the risks of physical flow for the balance of system within Ukraine after the launch of Nord Stream 2? Are there any guarantees of physical flow? Yes, this is a very kind of tough issue because we understand that from the point of view of firm capacity, we are balanced on the yearly basis. So we understand that if all 27 million cubic meters of firm capacity from Slovakia are used every day and someone is importing the gas, then we are more or less balanced in terms of the gas balance for the whole year. So we will have the 30 BCM, around 30 BCM consumption, around 20 BCM production, and around 10 BCM import. But from the point of view of covering the peak demand in winter, we might be facing some problems. That's why it's very important for us to have the successful launch of firm capacities with Hungary, and then with increasing the firm capacities from Slovakia, and from creating firm capacities from Poland. And we also understand that the main problem may be that in case Nord Stream 2 is launched and launched in full operation, the transit through Ukraine will drop, maybe will be decreased to zero. And in this case, we will have to rely only on this physical import capacities. So we also understand that the system is physically ready to deal with it. So we are ready to physically transfer the gas from west to east. But the question is of the source of this gas. Really, we as a TSO are ready to transport it, but someone needs to do the import, and to do it either in summer to inject it into storages, or to do it within the whole year in more or less flat with more or less flat rate. So this would be a tough operation, but if everyone prepares properly, we will be ready to deal with it. Thank you very much, Konstantin. So you as well. So colleagues, if you don't have further questions, I would like to thank you very much for joining, and to apologize for these technical problems in the beginning of the meeting, and all these knocks. They were quite irritating, but okay, we managed to successfully do it. Thank you very much for joining. Happy upcoming New Year, and Merry Christmas. You also know that you can also always ask the questions to us directly, and send them either to commercial email, or directly to us. Thank you very much.